Okay, so this is the addendum video on the Xantrex C35 charge controller. I think this is going to be part 3 or 4 in the video series. I didn't spring for the extra 89 or 100 bucks for the faceplate that has the display on it. And it basically gives you a little bit of information on volts and amps. Miles over at Light Harvest Solar does have a separate volt amp meter. Look kind of heavy duty. I was thinking of buying it for testing and might get that in a couple of days. In the interim, I went really cheap for voltage displays because I wanted to simulate a lot of the features that this thing had, but it crapped out on me. And there's just no big way to win on this. It seems like when you get $100 charge controllers or $80 charge controllers like this, you still end up either having to have a really good full-featured charge controller, but some of the electronics inside aren't that great, so I got to keep a spare around as a backup. Or we buy a heavy-duty charge controller that just has an idiot light, and then I got to figure out either hook a multimeter up or buy their meter. So here's a inexpensive way to deal with it, because I left a lot of the connections open, so I wouldn't necessarily go down the road like this. I'll get plastic covers back on a lot of this stuff and wrap it, but I need to be able to run all my diagnostics and be able to diagnose where I've got power at different points. So one of the ways to do this is I got one of these inexpensive but very functional multimeters from Harbor Freight. Put a little Velcro on here, a little glue-on Velcro tape. This also, this Velcro stuff's really useful. I mean, I can snap cell phones up here, and it's just, good for knowing where they are. So we put some Velcro tape on the back of the multimeter. Bingo, we're in business, right? Okay, so I've left a lot of this wire exposed because I had color-coded it, and I wanted to be able to know what side I have stuff going in. So I know that on this little type of connector, this side is a positive. I've got red coming into there. I can stick this into here without crossing over it into the negative. I'm going to stick that there. That's for a different type of a plug that I'm going to have for some external systems. And then I've got a negative here, so I'm going to get some readings. The wires coming out of this side are battery related. Okay, so it's battery and power system related, grounded on a vehicle body. The panel wires are what comes in from here from the array. So this is a ground that's for that. Now again, before I go down the road, I would wrap this because this could bump into something metallic, but right now it's the shape of it kind of keeps it where it's at. And this is a positive for panel voltage. Now these have been running 30 amp fuses. If you look at some of my earlier videos, I used to have a different thing running down here to a grid tie inverter. That's been removed. I'm going to put a different one in if I use one, and then use this for instructional purposes. So if I take a negative reading from a positive reading here and a negative reading here, I get to know what my system's doing, which is 1255. I'm running some lights. That's reasonably healthy voltage, okay? And that's because the wire is exposed here. You can see how that goes. That goes here, which means I've got a reasonably decent connection. It goes to this bolt, which goes to the outside body. And I still have my 1255, which means I'm not losing anything with quality of connection here. If I go over to here, it's interesting because on the other charge controller, these wouldn't cross over. This wouldn't be giving me the same reading. On a Xantrex, apparently it does. So apparently it does kind of commonize the ground, I guess. So when I just set this over on my panel side, and I may not be able to get that to stay and hold the camera, let's stick it in the top here. And now I'm just doing panel voltage. It's giving me a little bit higher, not by much. 1256, and let's see if it crosses here. Yeah, apparently it does. It's only a partial higher. So apparently that's the way these things work. It's a really different. So it doesn't necessarily tell me an in voltage, out voltage. panel amperage versus battery amperage. Doesn't do all that stuff that this does. But if you do the poor way of just have a multimeter, and these multimeters are so inexpensive that a lot of times you can just simply you know, when the sticky stuff stays sticky, but here it's causing that sticker to come off. So a lot of times you can just mount a multimeter right there on your solar array. I get these for free at Harbor Freight with a coupon. It usually comes in a Sunday paper when I buy other stuff. So our Xantrex is working. If you don't have some sort of an indicator, even if it's just Velcroing a multimeter up here, all you have is the idiot light. And as long as you're seeing green, I guess it's good. That's all we have to work with. And I'm going to play around a little bit. I'm going to spend more time with the owner's manual and encourage more discussion on the topic.